Hi and welcome back to Rideshare Buddy UK. My name's Kevin, and today this is going to be a video split over a number of days, because what I'm going to look at today, or in this video, is comparing different charging solutions. So I'm going to compare Tesla versus BP Pulse versus Ionity. Now, on all of the videos, all of the tests, I'm going to take the charge down to 30%, 30%, and then charge up to 90%, which is what I normally do, 30 to 90%. So then we can look at the differences in pricing, differences in charge speeds, and I'll talk about the differences in availability and things like that. So it's going to be spread over a few days as I use up the power. So continuity wise, I'm going to have different shirts on, different clothes on, etc. But let's see what we can do in this comparison of fast chargers or ultra chargers, because the Tesla is a 250 kilowatt charger, the BP I use is a 150 kilowatt charger, and the Ionity is a 350 kilowatt charger. So let's just see what happens. Okay, so we're here at our first stop for our charging. It's the Tesla station. I'm here at just gone 5 o'clock, so I'm on to the peak time charging of 43p kilowatts. So let's have a quick look at the stats on the board. Right, as you can see, I've got 25% battery. I didn't have time, well, I couldn't come in at 30% because I was busy. So earliest opportunity, so 72 miles. So let's clock on. We want to pump 1B, start the charge. So it's initiating charging. It will go up to 97 kilowatts, and then it'll stop at that, peak at that because of the car. Even though it's a 250 kilowatt charger, there we go, it's going to stop at 97 because the chargers are, a 400 volt system and the car is a 800 volt system. So the charge goes through the rear motor thingy, whatever, not technical, but it goes through rear motor to be upgraded from 400 to 800 to go to the battery. Which means to protect that rear motor mechanism, it's capped at 98 kilowatt per hour. So we'll take it up to 90%. At this rate, it's going to be 37 minutes. So this is the slowest charger I use, but the cheapest, particularly during off-peak time. I'll come back here at an off-peak and do a second charge at the Tesla, so you can see the difference. Well, it's all going to be charged the same, it's just going to be a lot cheaper. It's going to be about a third of the price of charging at peak time. So peak time, 43p a kilowatt, and off-peak, I think it's 34. So let's have a look at the app. So there you go. So far I've got up to 27%, 2% for 86p, charging at 97, 1 minute 43. So let's let that charge up and we'll have a look at the pricing afterwards. Okay, I've come down to the Celtic Manor Tesla station, which has 12 chargers. And that's why I've gone down to 25% on my battery level. I've just come back from Cardiff. I could have gone to Cardiff Tesla. Let's just turn the fan off. and I'd got there just about 30% or just down to 29%. But I wanted to come back here, which is my usual and my main charging station, so I can talk about this charging station. So it's got 12 superchargers, 250 volts. The problem is, I think these are version 3 pumps, which means they have the short hoses or short charging cables on them. So I have to take up 2 places. I have to park in one spot and then use the wrong Tesla charger to plug in because the cable's not large enough. I believe version 4 have much longer cables, and they've got the version 4 chargers down at Reading West Services, which I use a lot, coming or going to Heathrow. So those are very good. They tend to be set in the middle of each slot as well, plus the larger cables means they can pretty much cope with anything. But these level 3 chargers, them set to the one side, short cables, set up for Tesla cars. No good for cars like this who needs a double space, unfortunately, but that's the way it goes. Now, availability, normally I would say 80% of the time I come here, I can come straight onto a slot or 2 slots without a problem. Saturday and Sundays can sometimes be an issue when it's a really nice weekend and when the hotel has golfing competitions on. It can fill up quite easily then. The other time is morning, between about 8 o'clock and 9:30, which is where you get the guests checking out of the hotel and charging up the car while I have breakfast ready for the move. But pretty much any time after about 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock, maybe even 1 o'clock, I can come in and I might sometimes be the only car here. So that's very good, especially as it's 34p a kilowatt hour then. So very cheap as well. So this is Tesla. We'll have a look at it after it's charged up. We've been here 4 minutes 42 and I'm at 32%. So we've recovered 7% already. Okay, so we were 14, almost 15 minutes into the charge. We're at 53% and we spent £9.89. It is quite slow at 97 kilowatts, but at least it's almost double the speed of the Dragon 50 kilowatt chargers, who are also 20-30p more expensive per kilowatt. So it's well worth 97 kilowatts. It's not a bad speed, and the pricing is the best you're ever going to find anywhere really for public chargers. Okay, we're at 16 minutes to go, up to 90%. We've got 68% done. Give me 208 miles. So, but just look at that average kilowatt miles per kilowatt efficiency, 4.3. That's awful for what I normally do. Normally I would be looking at that being about 4.7, 4.8. So, as I said in the other video, I'm losing half a mile per kilowatt. And that equates to about 30 miles on an 80 or 90% charge, 35 miles on a 90% charge. And that's purely down to the tyres. I've swapped out the original tyres of the Michelins for some cheap budget tyres of Fronway Euros 08, I think they are. Cheap enough, £75 per tyre, so that's £300 for all 4. Which I thought was okay, for reasonable, especially when you look at the sort of the margins we make when we drive for places like Uber and Bolt. You don't get great margins, so you can't really afford to buy brand name tyres. But that mileage difference is a big one. So the Frontway tyres were Euro rated efficiency of C. The braking efficiency was rated B, and the decibel rating was 70. Now that 70 is not too bad. I can live with it. It's a little bit louder than the Michelin's, but not by much. If you didn't sit in a car beforehand and you just sat in it now, you wouldn't notice it being loud. but the fuel efficiency is not good. So I'm going to look at, next time I replace the tyres, I'm going for the Goodyear ones that you can get at Costco. Now they're £125 a tyre, so £50 a tyre more than the front way, but the efficiency, Euro efficiency for fuel is rated A, and also the braking efficiency is rated A, and the decibels are the same as this, rated at 70 decibels. So much better fuel efficiency, much better braking efficiency, which I really look forward to. So I'm going to go for the Goodyear. It'll cost just over £500 for all 4 tyres, but I'm going to make that back on my fuel efficiency. The other thing is, these are not rated for snow and not rated for ice, whereas the Goodyear are rated for snow, but they're not rated for ice. So I don't drive out much when it's snowing and when it's raining, when it's cold and icy. But if I do get caught out in a bit of snow, especially up in the Welsh mountains, it'll be nice to know that my tyres are rated for snow driving. So next one out, it will be the Goodyear. Okay, we've just hit 81%, and the car has dropped charging down to 6 kilowatts per hour. I'm not too fussed over that, because this happens when the battery management system checks in. After a couple of minutes, it'll start to go back up, but it won't go up very high with Tesla. Tesla doesn't like charging much beyond 80%, and you do start to lose some power then. And I have known it get kicked off at 80%. If the Tesla system thinks it's a busy time of day, it'll kick you off at 80%. But this is just the battery balancing out, battery management software, and after a few minutes it'll start to go up. But as you can see, at 81%, I've got 250 miles all done, and it's taken me 29 minutes and 18.92 in charging. Okay, there we go. It's checked. The software's done its job, balanced the cells, and now it's shooting back up to finish off the charge up to 90%. It takes about 2 minutes for that battery check to be done, and then away we go again, straight up to 98. Won't go much above that because of that the cap. And now we've hit 84%. This is where it normally starts to drop the charge, because of you have a charging curve. The Ioniq 5 has a really good charging curve, and you only start to lose that charging power once you go above 84, 85%. Then the charging starts to drop, and that last 5% can take a little bit of time. But I do like to go up to 90%, because it's always nice to have a few extra miles on the clock, just in case you get an Uber out to Bristol or Uber out to Bristol Airport or somewhere like that. It's nice to have that little few extra miles ready to go. At 85%, I got 264. I should have, normally on the old tyres, at 90%, I'd have about 305 miles on average, but these new tyres, I'm looking to get much above 270, 275. So I do lose a big chunk of mileage from the tyres. Okay, we went to 89%, the final minute, and our charging rate has now dropped down to 45 kilowatts per hour. So that's not too bad still. Even at the top end, you're still getting a reasonable drawdown of power. So just the last minute, and we can be off. Okay, so that's it, 279 miles. I'm at 90%. And can we get charging pricing? £21.50, 37 minutes time. So 37 minutes from a 25% up to a 90% charge, costing £21.50. So that was number one, Tesla peak time. I will do another one with Tesla off peak, at some stage so we can compare the two. But I'll try and do it about 25% or thereabouts. Obviously, I can't do it precise. I'll try and get it close to that so we can compare like to like. But this was 25% up to 90%. And that's number one done. Okay, so I'm going into number two now. I'm going to go to the BP superchargers at Malpas Road. I'm currently on 23%. By the time I get there, I'm probably down to about 22%, maybe a little lower. We'll see what happens. Couldn't get it down to get there in time for 25%. So this is going to be a little bit more power going into the battery than at the Tesla, but it'll be a lot quicker because it's a faster charger. It's a 150 kilowatt hour ultra charger, but I have known it go up to 175, so it does peak out at 175, even though it's classed as a 150. But let's get over there, let's plug it in, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we've just arrived at the BP pumps, or BP chargers. We'll have a quick look at the stats, then we'll start the charge. Okay, so here we are, 63 miles left, 22% charge, and we'll just hit the button. I'm on, there's the app. I'm on, oops, not getting a very good focus on it. But I'm on 4, so let's hit the charge now, plugged in. I'm on the CSS2 connector and start charging. Confirm the connected, yes. So it's going through the motions. I can hear it clicking. It's accepted. Done the safety tests. Yes, there we go. We're off. 28 minutes to 90%. Now, if you remember, the Tesla took 38 minutes, and that was from 25%, and this is 22%. So charges at 110, 111 going up. And that should go up to about 150 because the car takes 220 and it maxes out at 150 the pump, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, today we seem to be maxing out about 112. Maybe I'll go up once the battery warms up a little bit. One of the things with the Ionity 5 is that the battery does warm up once you start charging, and that sort of improves your charging speed. Now, one of the nice things about this BP station is that, just knocking the dash cam off, is that it has a Royal Bean cafe and an M&S food store. So it's a nice place to stop. It's also got toilets. And when you're charging, you get half-price coffee or tea, half-price hot drinks. So you can get a real nice coffee for about £1.50. I try and avoid coming here at lunchtime and at dinner time when I'm hungry, because I've got some cracking pasties, and I end up spending £5 or £6, which defeats the object of trying to earn money if you're spending it at a cafe. So I try and avoid it. Now, availability wise, during the rush hour it can be quite difficult sometimes to get on, and Saturdays as well, but outside that time it's fairly okay to get on. I'd say 80% of the time I come here, I can come on the charger without an issue. 20% of the time, I'll just drive on because both chargers are in use. And that seems to be increasing now. It seems to be getting quite popular. So there's only the 2 chargers for BP in Newport, or ultra chargers. There's a couple of 50 kilowatt chargers, but that's no good for this job. You need to get in, charged up and get out. So for me, if Uber does drop the free BP membership, I won't be taking on the paid membership. It's not worth it. Not just for 2 chargers, and there's not a lot of BP fast chargers around in South Wales, so it's just not value for money. I'll just stick with the Ionity because it's very fast charging, and also Tesla, and I'll try and work just those 2 and ignore BP. But we'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to come to an end, and I'll do a video on how Uber is squeezing driver benefits now. They've squeezed the fares, now they're squeezing driver benefits, and I think the free BP membership is on the way out. So we've just kicked off. We're now kicking up to 130, 140, 150, 160, 170. So the battery's conditioned and is accepting full charge now. Let's have a look at that. I don't know if you can see it. Is it readable? It's not great lighting, I'm afraid. Well, I'm at 173, which is not bad for 150 kilowatt charger. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a coffee and we'll see how we're doing. I'm at 32%, we've been on 5 minutes, so we've picked up 10% in 5 minutes. Got 24 minutes to go to 90%. I got 90% on today because later today I've got a OTS from Cardiff to Bath, so I'll use a bit of charge then. And also tomorrow morning I've got one of my own works, which is from Bath to Newport. So that's my own charge, my own job. And you can notice a difference when you get your own jobs. Your own jobs are the cream on the cake. It's what you do and what you have to do to have a decent living. It's okay, OTS and Uber is okay just to fill in rough patches or slow patches. But let's look at that. Cardiff to Bath, OTS is paying £57. My Bath to Newport is paying £75. So you're making £20 on a shorter job extra. So you've really got to try and push and get your own work in. And this is what I tell everybody, you know, if you're a private hire driver, try and get your own operator's license, try and get your own work. Getting your own work is the only way you're going to make a decent living in this job now. You're not going to make it in Uber, you're not going to make it in Bolt, you're not going to make it subcontracting. Those are your jobs you do just to bring money in. If you want to feed your family, buy a house, run a nice car, have decent tyres, you've got to do your own work. So let's head off and let's get that coffee. Okay, so I've just walked down, grabbed the coffee, half price, very good. And let's see how our charging is going on. We seem to have dropped down to 122 kilowatts hour. We've got 14 minutes left, and at the moment we've been doing for 15 minutes. Okay, so now one of the things I've got to realise with BP is, which is really good, you get a monthly invoice, so you don't pay as you go. But it does mean you don't quite know how much you're putting in the tank, so to speak, or in the battery. The normal standard price, if you pay £8.95 a month for the subscription, is 69p a kilowatt. But at the moment, Uber drivers get it for 49p a kilowatt. So the only way you can work out how much your charging sessions cost you in real time is to make a note of how many kilowatts has been charged and then multiply that by 0.49 and they'll give you a price for your charging session. Because otherwise you just don't know how much you're being charged. But it is quite nice having a monthly invoice. It helps with cash flow, and you get none of these holds. Like Tesla will put a pending hold on your bank account of £20 per charging session. Normally that comes off fairly quickly within a day, and you just get charged the actual amount. The issue is Ionity put a £40 holding charge on your bank, and that can take a week. So if you charge up 2 or 3 times at Ionity, not only is the money for each charging session being taken out, but you could have 120 or even 140, well, 160 pound of pending holds on your bank account. I've had 160 pound in the past, where I've filled up almost every day at Ionity, because it's just worked out that way. So that's the good thing about BP. Slightly more expensive for Uber drivers, but it is charged monthly, and that helps your cash flow. Now, one of the big differences and why we can get such high rates at BP is because the BP chargers and the Ionity chargers can differentiate between 400 volt systems and 800 volt systems. So plugging in as an 800 volt system, the charge will be delivered at 800 volts. So it goes directly to the battery. It doesn't have to be upscaled like you do at Tesla. So there's no cap on by the car to protect any motors. It just goes straight through the system and into the battery at 800 volts. Right, so we've hit 82% charge. It's towards the end of the charging curve, so power's dropped down to 66. 6 minutes to go. We've been on 23 minutes. So all going well. This might start to drop quite rapidly now if the battery conditioning is going to start taking impact. But at 83%, it's still coming in at 63 kilowatts. Right, so I'm into the last minute. Charged at 38 kilowatt. Tesla was charging a little bit faster than this at the end of the charge, but still a reasonable rate. So down to 1 minute. So I'll take us up to 29 minutes in total. Once we click off, let's have a look. Okay, so it's charge time 28.58, so that's 10 minutes faster than Tesla, even though it had to charge up extra compared to where we stopped yesterday. £36.58. That's at 69p a kilowatt hour. We need to change that. So 53 kilowatts, there's still calculations at 49 pence. So as an Uber driver at 49p a kilowatt, that charge cost £25.97, and I've got 285 miles on the clock. Remember, this is an extra 3% more than what I did at the Tesla, so it is more expensive. Tesla's at 43 pence. But that's it for the BP. So that's the BP session done, and we've done Tesla peak time, BP, and we'll go on to the next one. I'm not quite sure where it'll be. It'll be better and never get down to about 25% again. But BP obviously faster than the Tesla, but quite a bit more expensive. Okay, so I'm on to number 3 now, third pump. I'm just hitting 27%. So let's head off down to Ionity and see what we get with Ionity. Ionity is the fastest charger I use. It's a 350 kilowatt charger. It recognises 800 volt cars, so it pumps it straight into the battery, and we'll get a pretty decent and a pretty fast charge today on this one. So let's head off to Ionity over at Mega. So here we are at Ionity at Mega. I'm on pump 4. It's about 6 cars there, so it's almost full. 24%, 70 miles on the clock. We're just going to pump 4, so let's just charge it up. And we're paying 43p a kilowatt hour. So it does take £40 out your, or holds £40 on your bank until it could take up to a week to clear. And there we go, we've just connected up. Charging, let's get see how much power I'm taking. Oh, here we go. 25 minutes, that's a bit slow for Ionity. Maybe it's because there's so many people on the rank, or sorry, on the chargers. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 out of 8 in use. So that's probably why it's not going up. Well, it's set at 181 kilowatts, so fair old speed. So there you go, you can see it on the app, 181.69 kilowatts power taken on, 25%, and it should go up pretty damn quick. So it's only about 4 or 5 minutes faster than, or it's saying 4 or 5 minutes faster than the BP. But I know we'll do a lot faster than that. So we're about 183 kilowatt now. And I think the maximum we had was 170. So you may be right, but we're about 15 minutes faster than the Tesla. Now the only issue here is there's nowhere to eat and drink. You've got a Subway, or you've got a bar. The one thing I like about the BP port at Malpas Road is that you get a coffee for £1.50. And they've got some great pasties and just chocolate bars and general stuff like that, which you can't get here. But you can't get at Tesla either, so at the Celtic Manor. So let's see how we go with this. Check in a bit later. So we're up to 214, 215. We came in at 25%. Now it's 38% after less than 5 minutes. As you can see, if I only went up to 80% charge, from 24% to 80%, I thought it was less than 15 minutes. So pretty fast charging, which is why I like coming here. But it's just a little bit out of the way to come here on a regular basis. That's the problem. Now, there's not many Ionities around. This one's the best one for me locally. But it's still about 10-15 minute drive away. When I go out towards London Way and Heathrow Way, there is one at the Chippenham Junction on the M4. So there is that one on that direction. And that's about the closest there is. Fortunately, they are building one over at Abergavenny, so that's going to be ideal for when I go head out towards Brecon, Crickhowell, and that sort of area for jobs, for the airport transfers. And the really useful one is in building one at Swansea. That's going to be a big one. And I'll do a lot of work out Swansea way, and that's going to cover me for Swansea, and out towards the South Wales, Pembrokeshire coast, out towards Tenby and places like that. So that's going to be a really good one to have because it's a very fast charge. Because the only alternative I have at the moment is to go to Tesla at Carmarthen. So once this Swansea one opens for Ionity, I think I'm going to be using that quite a lot because it's the same, pretty much the same price. 43 pence a kilowatt hour is the same price as 43p kilowatt hour peak time at Tesla. So there we are, 219, and we're whizzing up now. So we've hit the maximum charge for the car at 220 kilowatt hour, just piling in, maximum recharge speed. So I can't complain about this. Right, so we've just hit 8 minutes and we're at 55%, 56%. Now, availability wise, normally this is pretty good. I'd say 90% of the time, there's plenty of spaces to come on and charge up. The only difficult time is like today, which is a Saturday, and I think it's because it's a summer holidays and we're so close to the M4, so it's quite a busy time. But apart from Saturday mornings, really, I can come on here and get a charger without any issues. So I'll give this a 90% availability. I think it's only been once where I've turned up at Ionity here and I've had to wait. And because the chargers are so fast, most of the cars that come here have fast charging capabilities, and you're only waiting 10, 15 minutes at most, really. I mean, if people are charging up in 20 minutes and moving on, it's perfect. So even if there's a little bit of a queue, you're only going to be here 10 minutes, 15 max. Okay, so we've just hit 60% in 9 minutes, 51 seconds. Moving along nicely. Okay, we've just gone over 70%. Speed's dropped a little bit to 156, but that's because all the chargers are now in use. So this Ionity station is now in full maximum capacity. It's taken 13 minutes 40 so far, up to 72%. But yeah, a little bit slower because we're in full use of the station. Okay, so we've just hit 80% in 16 minutes 50 seconds. That's from 24% charge up to 80%. So that's not too bad. That's a pretty decent rate. We're still pulling in 141, even though we're still fully booked, or still full with all the. No, one's just pulling away now. So we got all of the chargers operating apart from one, but we're still pulling in 120, even though we're over 80%. So our charging curve is now just beginning to flatten off and fall down, and come down and start to slow down on charging. Right, there we are. We've hit 89%, but we're still pulling in 66 kilowatts. That's less than a minute to go. And let's have a quick look at what the app says. So the app says 88% in 21 minutes. Currently do 68.7 kilowatt charging. Just going to 89, 21 minutes. So it should knock off fairly soon. And that's it, according to the car. It's done 90% and it's disengaged. So there we go, 90%, 21 minutes, £21.81. That's from 24%. And I have 289 miles in the battery. So there's the final statement, 21 minutes 53 to go from 24% to 90%, and it cost me £21.81. Okay, I do like Ionity because it's real fast charging and decent price, comparable with a Tesla. The only thing to remember is with these, one, Ionity, I have to have the Power Plus passport to get 43p a kilowatt, and that is £10.50 a month. For Tesla, I have to pay £8.95 a month. Now that gives me access to about 40% of Tesla's charging network, which is pretty decent. Covers me for everywhere I want to go. And with BP, I don't pay anything yet, but I do believe that the £8.99 a month free pulse subscription with Uber is going to disappear soon. I really believe that. So then I'll drop BP Pulse. So you do have to pay up front with a monthly subscription, but you get some really good discounts. Now, things like Dragon, GridServe, none of those have membership and none of them provide discounts. So they're not worth even looking at for charging. But yeah, that's number 3 done. The only one I need to do now is the Tesla off-peak, and then I can get this video edited and uploaded. Okay, so let's try and do our final one, which is our Tesla at Celtic Manor on off-peak rates. It's currently just gone 5:30. I've just dropped in Abergavenny and I've got 42%. So what I'm going to do, I've flicked on the Uber. I'll run Uber until I'm down to about 25%, which is what I've done the others for, and then I'll head over to Tesla at Celtic Manor, and hopefully it'll be after 8 o'clock, because after 8 o'clock it's off peak, which is 37 pence. I'll check when I start filling up anyway. But from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. it's peak time at Tesla. After 8 p.m. it drops down to off-peak charging. I can have a nice leisurely drive down through Abergavenny, out down through Lamfoist and stuff like that. I doubt I'll get anything coming in until I hit Pontypool, and then as we head down towards Cumbrae, we get a much more likelihood of getting some Uber work. Well, that was a busy little session, but it's now 4 minutes past 8, so I'm now into off-peak time, and I've got 24% in the battery. So let's head over to Celtic Manor and get this charged up at off-peak rate, and we can see and compare it to all the others. So I've just checked on the app, and there's 10 of 12 stalls available, which is what I would expect at this time of night. It's really only weekend nights at Saturday night, really, that it does fill up, but weekday, not a problem. Okay, so we map out the Tesla charger, so let's get started. This is off-peak, so let's have a quick look. Right, so here's the app. As you can see, 43 pence peak time, and we're now charging at 34 pence. 34 pence, not bad at all. Let's charge here. I'm on pump 2C. So pump 2C, start charging. And away we go. It's just clicked on. Now Tesla, I think I've said before, takes £20 holding charge from your bank. Ionity takes £40. BP doesn't take anything because it's billed monthly. So that's pretty good. So there we go. So let's have a quick look at that. Well, we was at 24%. Where is it? 22%. And we're charging up at 97, which is the normal rate for Tesla. So I forgot to say how long it's going to take that to charge up. To 90%, I've been on 5 minutes and there's 34 minutes remaining, so it'll be 39 minutes to go from 23% up to 90. So we've had quite a good day today. There's a couple of jobs I didn't bid on because of the range issue. That's what I want to do. I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, so I've just had to check the mileage on that. There's a return trip, a couple of jobs going out to Heathrow Airport and going back from Heathrow Airport to Navan, Newport, Cardiganshire. So it was paying £266, but it was 244 miles. So with these new tyres, I'm really pushing my luck there, because even though Navan to Heathrow is 266, I have to, because there's no chargers in the area. There's another 25 miles, 30 miles to add on to that to get to Carmarthen and recharge at that Tesla station. I think there's one 22 kilowatt charger at Navan, from what I could see on the map, and that's basically it. So really, I'm looking at 275 miles to do that. If I fully charge up at Heathrow, drop off at Navan, then I need to get back to Carmarthen to recharge. And with these tyres, I ain't got that sort of mileage. At 90%, I'm getting about 280 miles estimated. So at 100%, about 290 miles. It's too tight. Whereas with the old tyres, I could do 330. I've got to get some grade A economy tyres on by the winter months, because I'll lose battery charge anyway, so that's got to be done. So I didn't bid on those because of the mileage issue. If I'd had the old tyres on, I'd have taken a chance. But not with these new tyres. I'm not getting to the mileage. So it's all gone very well today. I cancelled one Uber job this morning. I accepted it. It was from fairly local one, going into town. I think I was going to National Express stops by the looks at it. But as soon as I accepted it, within seconds she was texting me saying, "Where are you?" I couldn't respond, I was driving. Less than a minute later she was saying, "You got to hurry up, I'm late, you got to rush, please hurry up." And I cancelled at that, because it's pointless going for that sort of job. You pick them up, them on your back to go speeding to get them, because they've probably got the coach to catch. They don't make it because they can't get their fat arse out of bed in time, and they score you a 1. Why take the risk? So I cancelled it. I don't mess around with people who are pushing me even before they get into the car to speed up. So that's it. Let's just wait for this a little bit longer and see how this charging goes. It's still going at the normal 97 kilowatt that you would expect from a Tesla charger. I've had a bit of a scorcher the last few days, and I've had my air conditioning on. We've had a problem. It's not giving me any range anxiety. Just set it at 20. Set it on auto. The fan's gone from anything from 1 up to speed 6, and it makes very little difference on the mileage. Let's have a quick look at this. I'll show you this nice little gadget in the car. So on the EV screen, I've got the fan set at 3 and the temperature set at 20. And if I didn't have the aircon on, I'd get 167 miles, and with the aircon on, 144. Obviously, it's going up because it's charging. So you're only looking at about 20 miles difference by having the aircon on, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so we've just hit 60%. It's been 18 minutes, and it's cost me £9.86. It's about a third off. So it's 43 to 34. It's about a third off the price, so you can save quite a bit of money by doing off-peak charging, which is what I like to do. So I think at a rough guesstimate, charging off-peak would save me about £8 on a 20 to 90% charge. It's about £8 cheaper. So it can mount up. You know, you're talking about saving £30 or £40 over a week if you're charging off peak compared to peak time at Tesla. Okay, so we've just hit 80%. Cost $14.96. 28 minutes, and there's 9 minutes left to go. So it boosted up, going on. But as you can see, the price, less than £15, definitely noticeably cheaper by coming off peak compared to peak time. Okay, we've just hit 83% and the charging rate's really dropping down. Again, this is just the battery software doing its work at balancing the cells. And within a couple of minutes, they'll start to go back up until 90%. Been a couple of minutes, the software's done its job, and it's back up at 97 kilowatts. So 84%, 33 minutes, 4 minutes remaining. Okay, so here we are, just down into the last minute now, 89%. 36 minutes, 1 minute left to go, so to say. So about 37 minutes. 17:34. We'll see what happens when it automatically logs off. I've got it set at 90% to auto disconnect. And we'll have a look at the tally then. Okay, so that's it, the charging time, 36 minutes 40. She's from 23% up to 90. And it costs £17.88. I evidently have 304 miles on the clock. But that's it. That's number 4, which is the Tesla off-peak charging comparison. Okay, so that's it. All 4 done, tried and tested, and you can compare them all for what you want. So, which is my favourite? Well, to be honest with you, my favourite is Ionity. They do a cracking speed, and at 43p kilowatt, it's on a par with Tesla peak time, but I can make a profit on 43p. So the only issue with Ionity is that it's at Mega, which is great if I'm going out towards Bristol Airport, coming back from the airport, but not great for where I am at home. So I don't use it very often. I'd say I probably use the Ionity about 30% of the time, and know that once the BP offer's over, 70% of the time will be spent at Tesla, because Tesla is the most practical, being at Celtic Manor, so very close, just down the road, and off peak it's the cheapest, and that means that I can save myself £7 a charge. Do that over 5 days. If I work 5 days, I don't often do 5 days, I normally do 4, but you can save yourself £35–40 a week by charging off peak at Tesla, and that's a useful saving. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, take care, safe driving, and make that profit.